Welcome to the video series of Chess with the Chess course. Let us commence our learning of this wonderful game of chess through the ingredient that is chessboard and chessmen. So let us start with chessboard. Well, the board represents a battlefield in the form of 8 by 8 grid for a total of 64 squares. These squares are alternately colored light and dark and traditionally called black and white square. So as I have said, basically it's a grid of 8. So we have 8 standing rows and we have 8 sleeping rows. And if we multiply that, we get a total of 64 squares. And again, as I said, they are traditionally called black and white square. The black is a dark color, white is a light color. So you might have any combination on a chessboard of dark and light. And basically of these 64 squares, 32 are white colored squares and 32 are black colored squares. The next part is the placement of the chessboard or orientation of the chessboard. It is not placed at random. The board should be placed between two players in such a way that there is a white or light colored square on the right hand corner of a player. So let us see this again. Say for example, if a white player is sitting here, on his right hand, the board should be placed in such a way that there is a white color on the right hand corner. Similarly, automatically you will find that the player having black pieces will have white color on his right hand corner. This is very important. If at all the placement of the board goes wrong, the orientation goes wrong, then the entire game also goes wrong. So this is the first thing that you have to ensure, that is placement of the chessboard. And a simple principle to remember in this regard is white on the right. So if you keep this thing in mind, a very simple thing, white on the right, then yes, you will never make a mistake while placing the chessboard. Going ahead, we now come to the type of chessmen. So basically chessmen are, are the forces that are engaged in this warfare. And we have 6 types of chessmen, and it consists of a king, queen, rook, bishop, knight and pawn. So if somebody asks you how many types of chessmen are there, then well, there are 6 types of chessmen. Going ahead, now we come to the total number of chessmen. So the game of chess is played with a total of 32 chessmen, which are evenly distributed at the start of the game. It means no element of luck. It's a war which is purely fought in terms of, like our brain. It's an exercise of the brain. So what is the breakup of this 32 chessmen? Well, each side has got 1 king, 1 queen, rooks are 2 for white, 2 for black, bishops are also 2 for white, 2 for black, knights are also 2 for white, 2 for black, and as regards pawns, pawns are 8 for white, and similarly 8 pawns for the black side. It means white has got a total of 16 chessmen and so has black, thus making a total of 32. So again, the basic point to remember is that 6 types of chessmen, and the breakup is that each side has got 16 chessmen, which consist of 1 king, 1 queen, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights and 8 pawns each. Going ahead, now is the time to learn the arrangement of this chessmen. So basically what you will do, you will first ensure that the board is placed correctly. You will see that there is a white color on your right hand corner. That is in fact the first step, and that's why like I am repeating this, that this is a must. And once the orientation is correct, then everything is proper. And then what do? We start with the corner. So basically the pieces are set up in the first row of squares on each side of the player. So basically pieces are like 5 chessmen, that is, out of 6 type of chessmen, pieces are 5. We refer to them as king, queen, rook, bishop and knight. And on the second row, the pawns are set up. That means, black will keep his 5 pieces on the first row and pawns on the second row. So pawns and pieces are different, and total, that is 16 as a whole, are referred to as material for each of the side. So in keeping with this, let us start arranging the chessmen on the first row from the corner and then proceeds towards the center. So first we'll start with arrangement of rooks. Let me just remove other color. It becomes easy for you to understand. So each of the rooks will occupy the corner squares. Accordingly, the player with white pieces will place his rooks on the 2 available corner square on his left and right hand side. The player with black pieces will also place both his rooks similarly. So you can see here that white has placed his 2 rooks on the 2 available corner squares. Similarly, black has placed his 2 rooks on the corner. So like they face perfectly against each other. It is like not, distributed unevenly. It's a perfect arrangement. Going ahead, which is the next piece that we need to arrange? And well, these are knights. So after rook comes the knight. We remember that there are 2 knights for each of the side. So the knights will occupy the square next to the rook. So the diagram in front of you, the position in front of you as well in the book, shows the board position after knights are arranged. So we have like 2 knights here arranged after rook, and then similarly for black we have 2 knights. Going ahead, we now come to arrangement of bishops. So each of the bishops will occupy the square next to the knight. After arranging the bishop, you will find that knights are placed between rooks and bishop. That means you will never make a mistake. Let us have a look at this again. So after knights, we have 2 bishops, 2 for white and 2 for black. And what do we see? That between bishop and rooks are in the corner. So what do we have? That means knights are always there between rooks and bishops. So if you can keep this arrangement in mind, you will never make a mistake. And now 2 squares are left empty. We have arranged 6 chessmen starting with 2 rooks, followed by 2 knights, followed by 2 bishops, and then we now have 2 empty square. And let us start with queen. So what do? The player with the white pieces will place his white queen on white color. That means queen occupy the same color, white queen on white, black queen on black. So to make it simple, remember this: queens occupy the square of their own color. It's a matching color for queen. This is what we say, a simple thing to remember. After arrangement of this 4 type of chessmen, now only 1 square is left empty, and that is for our king. So naturally the king stands on the reverse color at the start of the game, the white king on black or dark colored square, and the white king on black or dark colored square, and black king on white or light colored square. So after arranging the king, we find that we have completed the first row. So these are here the king, that means white king is on black color and black king on white color. So just let us recap the arrangement of pieces once again, going back to the rook. So it becomes like much easier for us to remember. So what do? We start with the corner square. It becomes very easy. Rather than starting from the center and then going towards the corner, it becomes much easier for us to remember that if we start from the corner and come towards the center, in fact, we will not make a mistake. So rooks occupy the corner square, that means 2 rooks for each side. Rooks are followed by 2 knights each, so 2 for white and 2 for black, and they face each other. And then we have 2 bishops for white and 2 for black, and after arrangement we find that knights are always between rook and bishop. And then it means now only 2 squares are left empty. One is for the queen and one for the king to complete the 5 pieces. So what we'll do, we'll start with the queen, and basically it's very easy to remember that queens occupy their own color. So white queen will be placed on a white colored square, black queen will be placed on a black colored square. After this, only 1 square is empty on the first row, and that is for the king. So naturally the king stands on the reverse color at the start of the game. That means white king on black color and black king on white color. With this, the first row is complete, and this is the way how the pieces are arranged. Now we come to second row. So of course we know that the pawns are placed on the second row of squares in front of the pieces. Once the pawns are arranged, the position on your chessboard, will conform to this diagram, which is basically referred to as starting position in a game of chess. It means you are now ready to play a game of chess. Now let us try to understand some further division of the chessboard. So once again we come back to the chessboard. So after arrangement of the pieces, and if we are to divide the chessboard in 2 parts horizontally, we know that like horizontally and vertically it has got 8 rows, 8 standing rows and 8 sleeping rows. So if we are to divide the chessboard in 2 parts horizontally, the half of the chessboard, that is 32 squares on which the white chessman stands, is called the white side, and the half with the black chessman on it is called the black side. So let me indicate this white side with a green color. I'll put it again, it's already there. So you can see this 32 squares demarcates the area for white. It means it belongs to the player with the white side. It's in control of the player of the white side. And the next 32 where the black army is sitting, basically it is referred to as the black side. So let me color this once again for the black side. And you can see this 4 rows horizontally for a total of 32 squares. So we have to remember the horizontal demarcation of the board. 32 squares belongs to the white side and 32 for the black side. And similar demarcation vertically down the middle of the chessboard is named as king side and queen side. Here the left half of the chessboard on the side of the player with white pieces is called queen side, and right half the king side. And if we take a closer look at the division of the chessboard, you will see that white's king side is always on his right and black's king side always on his left. So let me just make it more clear as to why this is referred to as king side and queen side. Well, you can see like all other chessmen excepting the king and queen are more than 1. It means we have 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights and 8 pawns. So it is like not easy to demarcate. But with only 1 king and 1 queen, we can easily divide it. What we can do is like in the last demarcation which we had done horizontally, this demarcation will be vertical, and we take it from basically where the king is standing. So the 4 vertical rows starting from the king and then going towards the corner edge of the board is basically referred to as king side. So this is king side. And then like queen side is the one where queen stands. So queen is also 1. That means the board which has like 4 rows starting from the queen, 4 vertical rows, that is demarcated as the queen side. And like if you see it from the perspective of the white player, his queen side will be on his left and his king side on his right. But for the black player who is sitting on the other side, his queen side is on his right and king side on his left. So this is what you have to remember. Of course, like this will be very important part for you when you like will be going to learn the advanced level of chess training. Moving further, so as we know that chessboard is a battlefield on which the war is fought. So also like we have, we have seen the white side and black side. So naturally we also have the line of control or the equator. So as in military parlance, the horizontal line which demarcates the white side and black side is called the line of control or equator of the chessboard. So you can see here like this, we know this 4 rows belongs to the white side. Let me put this again, the entire 4 rows. You can see it here, and then the next 4 rows belongs to the black side. And if we are like to see a line which demarcates the white side and black side, that is exactly between the 4th and the 5th row, which breaks up this, is known as the line of control or equator. Now, as we had learnt at the start, basically it's a grid of 8 standing rows and 8 sleeping rows. So these 8 standing rows or vertical rows are called files, and this is what you have to remember, that standing rows means files. And then exactly opposite, the 8 horizontal or sleeping grid are called ranks. So you can see here marked in green, and basically they are numbers which will I will describe it more in particular when we come to the notation part. And then we come to diagonals. So the rows of the same colored square which slants across the chessboard are called diagonals. So here you can see this diagram wherein I have marked the diagonals on the white colored square. So this we can see it very quickly. These are all diagonals. They slant across the chessboard on the same color. And like you can see here, let me just try to whether I can remove all color at a time. Yes, I can. So what do we see? White color, let us count this. So this is the shortest diagonal, 1, 2, of mistake, 2, 3, 4. This is the longest diagonal of 8 squares, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 diagonals this side, and then we bisect it here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. It means there are 13 diagonals on a white colored square. Longest is of 8 squares and shortest is of 2 squares. So basically you can see 2 shortest diagonal. These are of two squares here. One is here and another is here. And longest for white is of 8 squares. So this is exactly in the center part. And then we move ahead. Similarly, you can see here the diagonals on the black colored square that are also 13. Longest, as we had learned, is of 8 squares. So this is like 8 squared diagonal, the longest, and of course the shortest we have 2 each for white and black. So one is here and other here at the bottom right hand corner. And if we are to take the total diagonals, so for 13 for white and 13 for black. So summing up, the chessboard has a total of 26 diagonal, that is 13 diagonals on each color running across the white and black colored squares. I hope you have been able to understand the files, the ranks and the diagonals. And now we come to one of the most important squares on the chessboard, and it's referred to as the center of the chessboard. There are 4 squares. Let me just, these are marked in green. Want to show you again. So these 4 squares which are colored in green are referred to as center square. Why? Because they lie exactly in the middle of the board. And then comes the question as to why they are called center square. How we can determine that they are situated exactly in the middle of the board? Well, because like if we measure the distance from any of this central square to the edge of the board, then the distance is equal. It is 3 squares, either vertically, horizontally or diagonally. Let us take an example. For example, this center square, and we measure it to the side here, say horizontally, then the distance is 1, 2 and 3. Let us also measure it like vertically, and what do we see? 3 squares again, 1, 2 and 3. And of course diagonally, and then we see 3 squares, 1, 2 and 3. So that's why they are referred to as center squares. They are the most important squares on the chessboard, and of course when we'll come to that part, you will understand as to why they are important. So with this, friends, we have completed our first lesson regarding the game, and that is pertaining to chessboard and chessmen. And just to recap, that we had first started with about the chessboard, means we have found that there are 64 squares on a chessboard consisting of 32 white colored squares and 32 black colored squares. Then we had learnt about the orientation of the chessboard, the placement of the chessboard, and we had learned that it should be placed in such a way that there is a white or light colored square on the right hand corner of a player. White on the right is the principle to remember. And then we had seen the type of chessmen, that there are basically 6 type of chessmen at the disposal of each side. Let me just take you very quickly through each of these diagrams. It becomes very easy. So the first one was the board, that is of 64 squares, which I had just said now. 32 white color, 32 black. Then we had seen basically the orientation of the chessboard, and it should be placed in such a way between the 2 players that there is a white or light colored square on the right hand corner of a player. And then we had seen the type of chessmen. Basically there are 6 type of chessmen. And then the distribution of this 6 type of chessmen, it is 32 total, that is 16 each for white, 16 for black, consisting of 1 king, 1 queen, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights and 8 pawns. And then we had learned the arrangement of this chessmen, 16 for each side, and we had started from the corner. So rooks occupy the corner square. Next to the rook goes the 2 knights, then 2 bishops follows knights, and then we put queen. So since that 2 squares are left vacant after arrangement of bishops, queens basically occupy their own color, that means white queen on the white and black queen on the black colored square, that are queens matching color. And then naturally the king stands on the opposite color, that is white king on black colored square and black king on white colored square. And then on the second row in front of the pieces there are 8 pawns, thus we have a total of 16 chessmen for white and 16 for black. They are referred to as material in total, that is consisting of 8 pieces and 8 pawns each for white and black respectively. And then we come to the demarcation of the board. So first we start with the white side and black side. So like if we divide the board in 2 parts horizontally, the half of the chessboard with 32 squares where the white player sits is basically referred to as white side, and the other half where the black sits is called as the black side. And then a similar division vertically down the middle of the board is named as king side and queen side. These are basically only 1 piece each, so it becomes easy to demarcate. So we can see that the 4 rows vertically for where the queen stands is named as queen side, and where the king stands it is named as king side. And we can also see that for white his queen side is always on his left and king side on his right, and for the black player it is just the opposite. So black player will have queen side on his right and king side on his left. And then we had come to like the line of control or the equator, the exact line which demarcates the white side and black side, that is between the 4th row and the 5th row, is known as equator. And then as we had referred, there are 8 standing rows, so these are referred to as files. And the 8 sleeping rows or the horizontal rows are referred to as ranks. And then we come to diagonals. So basically diagonals are the rows of the same colored square which slants across the chessboard. So you can see here the slanting rows of square, and these are on the white colored, and you can see that there are in all 13 diagonals on white colored square. 2 are shortest of 2 square each and 1 longest, that is of 8 square, and of course consisting of other breakups. So we have total 13 diagonals on white colored. Similarly 13 diagonals on black colored square, to make it a total of 26 diagonals. And then we come to the center of the chessboard. So as I had told you, there are 4 center squares on the chessboard and they exactly lie in the middle. And why they are referred to as center square? Because like if we measure the distance from any of the center square to the side, either vertically, horizontally or diagonally, the distance is equal, that is 3 squares from a center square to the side. So friends, this concludes our first part of learning, that is chessboard and chessmen. I will be back with the solutions to the simple test positions on this chapter. Till then, bye.